Good afternoon, everyone. We are really delighted to have you all join us today. I'm going to present an incredibly interesting topic called how to migrate, modernize, and optimize using AWS MAP, Migration Acceleration Program. This is an area which AWS invests heavily and passionately care about, and cloud migrations and modernization continue to be one of the quickest and most cost-effective ways for customers to achieve their transformation objectives. My name is Jindu Cherian, and I'm a Principal Solutions Architect here at AWS, specializing in migrations and modernization. And I'm joined by Anil, who is the CTO of FWD Singapore, which is one of the fastest growing life and health insurance service providers in Asia. In today's sessions, we'll understand why customers migrate, what are the compelling events, motivates our customers to migrate and modernize to AWS. We'll also look at some of the lessons learned from helping our customers, or thousands of customers, migrating and modernizing to AWS. We'll look at modernization pathways and how modernization pathways could be your prescriptive execution guidance to modernization. We'll touch on AWS significant investment in the automation and tooling for migrations and modernization. And finally, we'll hear from Anil about how FWD has achieved their transformation objectives leveraging Migration Acceleration Program. We see customers migrate and modernize to AWS from every industry and every area because they see tangible benefits. Whether it's a 100-year-old company or a newcomer like Airbnb, who has directly built their solutions on the cloud. So everything evolves all the time, the consumer trends, the industry trends, the behavior. So it's all about how quickly you can adapt to that cycle and be able to respond faster to the changing consumer trends. So consider Disney as an example, who used to be a leader in the creation of original content, and due to the changing consumer trend, they had to release a new streaming service called Disney+, which is an example of how you can use the power of AWS to bring new services and features into the market. And there are many reasons why customers migrate and modernize. You may be motivated by the compelling events such as cost objectives, data center consolidations, fit-outs, relocation, data protection, and disaster recovery. But what we are observing now is that the conversation is shifting. While customers achieve significant cost savings while migrating to the cloud, the board of directors want more than just cost savings. They want to be able to innovate faster. They want to be able to transform their customer service experience using the application modernization. So one of the lessons we have learned at AWS helping thousands of customers is that there is no one right or wrong answer. Everything depends on your unique portfolio, your unique situation, or your unique scenarios. So one thing you can ensure to make sure that you have a success in your transformation is to secure a strong executive sponsorship. So it is depending on the people and the culture. The second one is set bold, outcome-based focused goals. Again, here we can really come and help you. Don't set technology or technical goals. Those are nothing but milestones. And if you're strongly convicted that cloud can accelerate your business transformation, then your goals should be more focused on business outcomes. And in order to achieve that business outcomes, you may need to exit your data center, you may need to adapt new cloud-native services like Kubernetes, serverless, containers, and so on. The third one is build momentum and avoid delays. And this is, again, a critical factor. And one of the success factors is learn by doing. Instead of spending months of time in planning and designing, you can really start small, learn by doing. AWS offers accelerators, which can lead to rapid POCs, and the automation and tooling, which can help de-risk your cloud migrations and modernization. Finally, take a portfolio-driven approach. Again, let's spend a couple of minutes here. Not every infrastructure or not every project is unique. No one can go out and say that, I have a lot of years of experience in the cloud migration and I have standardized everything, I have a template. I can just go and apply the template and then migrate all of your applications in one go. So that's not the right way to look at it. You need to really comprehend and dive deep and understand your portfolio. And within your portfolio, what are your key business drivers? And what are your business critical applications? And what are those infrastructure related decisions which yield you most ROI? So up until now, we have seen or we have heard quite a lot. The AWS has a lot of good contents, and our customers always ask, how do we package it? So what we have done is, we went back and taken all these learnings, all these best practices and tooling, and packaged it in a structured program called Migration Acceleration Program. And this is our flagship program. And any customer who want to embark the journey to cloud through migrations and modernization can benefit from this program. And there are primarily 6 dimensions we look at helping our customers through this program, starting with the methodology, the investment into tooling, a large partner ecosystem, professional services, training, and a broad range of investment, wherein we look at co-invest with our customers and helping our customers smooth their path to the cloud. Now let's look at the structured approach or the methodology. So AWS have been helping customers for the last 10, 15 years. And this structured approach helps to lay out a foundation through a discovery and assessment. And one of the critical outcomes which you can try to drive as part of assess phase is migration readiness assessment. This is an assessment which helps an organization to objectively evaluate where do you stand at the moment. It gives that objective scoring to your leadership to understand where to focus and what to prioritize. And it's a Q&A kind of a session which helps you understand those blockers early in your migration lifecycle and then remediate and then have a seamless navigation to the cloud. Followed by that is a mobilize phase, wherein which you look at build some momentum and gain some experience. So this is where you look at building a landing zone, building an operating model, and even look at performing some pilot migration to the cloud to have that skill set and experience. And finally, you move to the migrate and modernize phase. This is where you look at accelerate and go faster and apply all those learnings coming out of assess and mobilize phase and then migrate and modernize at scale. And you may really want to look at and use the full spectrum of migrations and modernization. And this is a typical enterprise landscape, and this is average, and your mileage may vary. But in every enterprise landscape, there is definitely going to be applications which are non-business differentiating, which are commodity or productivity applications with very low change rate, which you can do a lift and shift migration. So instead of looking at them for modernization, we can do a simple lift and shift migration and start realizing those initial cost savings. And 20% or more are the applications which are business differentiating or the applications which yield you most ROI. And these are the applications you should be focusing on modernization. And what we have observed is when customers commence the journey to modernization, they face a couple of major roadblocks. One of it is analysis paralysis, which is not knowing where to get started. The second one is the decision factor, right? Which target AWS services or product to be used? Because we have a broad range of services, more than 200 different options. So what we have done is we went back and looked at those previous successful modernization customer stories, understand those patterns, and then develop modernization pathways. Modernization pathways are nothing but prescriptive cloud transformation motion, which helps you to map out a predefined application domain to a pre-decided set of AWS products and services on the cloud. And there are primarily 6 modernization pathways, and I'm going to quickly touch on each of these. So the first one is move to cloud native. Move to cloud native is about breaking a legacy monolith to a loosely coupled microservices-based architecture. The second one is move to container. Move to container is about having that operational consistency and portability through the utilization of containers. The third one is move to managed database. It's about moving from self-hosted, self-managed relational database to managed relational database in the cloud. Move to open source is about moving away from pricey, punitive licenses to more open source-based solutions. Move to a modern analytics is about introducing that managed modern analytics solution, right? Going into that data lake mentality and breaking data silos. And finally, we have move to modern DevOps. And this is that underlying test-driven CI/CD culture, which sits on top of all other modernization pathways. And without this, you will not be able to achieve the kind of agility you need. So up until now, we have talked through the different processes and best practices, and AWS is investing in removing barriers through the automation and tooling. So we offers a broad range of automation and tooling, which helps you de-risk your cloud migration and modernization. And there are quite a lot of them, and I'm going to quickly touch on some of the most critical tooling, which helps you accelerate your journey to the cloud. So the first one is Application Migration Service, or MGN. Some of you must have heard about Cloud Endure. So this tool, which AWS has acquired and fully rebranded and integrated into our console. So this is a tool which you can use to rehost migration. So what you're seeing on the screen is a high-level architecture diagram. So the left-hand side is the corporate data center, which composed of multiple applications and databases. And the implementation starts by the installation of a lightweight agent, which enables a continuous block-level replication from on-premise to the cloud. And MGN deploys a lightweight staging area on the cloud, which consists of lightweight EC2 instances and low-cost EBS volume, which act as your replication partner. And once the replication is completed, you can launch an instance into a test or a cutover mode, and MGN automatically converts that instance or your on-premise instance to natively run on AWS. And the conversion process typically happens in minutes, regardless of the size of the servers. And you can run this conversion process in multiple servers in parallel. The next one is DMS, Database Migration Service. DMS focuses on migrating data from one database platform or one database engine to another. And it supports a broad range of SQL and NoSQL sources and target, which gives you that flexibility and freedom. One of the beautiful aspects of DMS is that it keeps your database operational while migration. That means it has a replication function which reads your secondary logging and monitor for any transactions or any incremental changes and transfer it to the cloud. And many of our customers uses DMS not just as a migration tool, but also as an ETL tool, the extract, transfer, and load. One of the important decisions a business owner has to make when it comes to migrations and modernization is where to store my data securely. So AWS offers a complete cloud storage portfolio for object, block, and file. And we also offer the widest choices for data migration, which helps you migrate your data online and offline to the cloud. So we have AWS Data Sync, which helps you migrate your data online, and we have AWS Snow Family solution, which helps you migrate data offline. So when we listen to our customers regarding some of the challenges they face when it comes to migrating data online to the cloud, we realize that there is an opportunity to help them removing some of those undifferentiated heavy lifting. And we built AWS Data Sync. AWS Data Sync is a fully managed service which is designed for speed, and performance is a critical factor for any migration tool. So AWS Data Sync uses parallel transfers, compression, and several other optimization features, which helps you to migrate your data as fast as possible. And finally, I would like to touch on refactor spaces. This is another cool service which we have launched. This helps you with application refactoring. This helps you fundamentally change the way our customers look at application refactoring. So you must have heard about strangler fig pattern, wherein which you look at incrementally extracting the capabilities from a legacy monolith and then move to a microservice-based architecture. So with the launch of this service, we fundamentally eliminate the need of setting up, or the complexity in setting up of the infrastructure, right, to coming up with a multi-account refactor spaces environment. So what it does is, with the strangler fig pattern, you look at extracting the capabilities from your legacy monolith and move to a microservices-based architecture, and how to incrementally route those traffic from your existing monolith to microservices. So refactor spaces helps you with that. So it gives you a strangler fig proxy, which incrementally route the traffic from your legacy monolith and then move to microservices. And then you start to strangle those capabilities incrementally over time, and then move and modernize your applications completely onto the cloud. And that's not the end. I mean, we have several other automations and tooling. But with that, I will invite now Anil, the CTO of FWD Singapore, to guide us through how FWD has achieved their transformation objectives using Migration's Acceleration Program.
Thanks, Jindu. That was insightful. Good afternoon, all. My name is Anil, and I represent the FWD technology team. And over the next 5 minutes, actually thanks to Jindu overrunning maybe over the next 4 minutes, I'll try to kind of summarize our cloud migration journey that we undertook 2.5 years ago. Right? I'll basically start, I think, with a brief introduction of my firm. FWD, as Jindu was mentioning initially, is a pan-Asian life and health insurance provider. And we started our operations in 2013 when we commenced our business in Hong Kong. And since then, over the last 10 years, we have expanded rapidly, and we are now operating out of 10 markets, and our combined customer base is 10 million, right? So we've expanded quite kind of rapidly over the last 10 years. Specifically, Singapore, FWD Singapore, coming to Singapore, we started our operations in 2016, and we offer our products and services to our customers here via our direct-to-consumer channel, which is our e-com platform, as well as through our IFA channels, which is basically our financial advisors that we have, right? And these are the two basic channels through which we provide our products and services. And most of our sales, that is basically policy issuance as well as the post-sale services, are digital, end-to-end, right? So no paper. And most of them are like real-time, wherever possible, right? So actually keeping this in mind, when we were doing our business strategy around 2020, right, we were trying to see how we can enhance and uplift some of our functions and capabilities, right? And some of the areas that we were kind of considering is, how to have a better time to market for our products and services. How can we ease out our implementations, right? Also, the frequency of the new ideas that we generated or the iterations that we wanted, how do we squeeze that in within a given time frame, right? So that we can experiment more and keep up to what the trends in the market are. So these were some of the challenges that we were trying to surmount, right? And then underpinning a lot of this, we kind of realized that, we need to kind of move towards a more microservices-based architecture and event-driven architecture, right? Kind of move towards a lot of self-service for our internal developers and engineers in terms of infra provisioning and stuff. And obviously for our deployment, kind of have a DevOps approach or an automated approach, right? So these were some of the underpinned capabilities that we wanted to develop, right? And based on this, basically, we embarked on our cloud-first strategy, right? And leveraged what Jindu was talking about as part of the MAP program, right? We kind of categorized our systems into what we can rehost immediately, or what needs to be kind of re-platformed or re-engineered before we kind of move to the cloud. Also, as part of the consolidation exercise, we kind of decided there are certain apps that we kind of, can decom and things like that. So based on all these things, and with a lot of help and leverage from the MAP program that AWS kind of presented to us, we actually built up a 3-year roadmap, right? And this, in summary, is that 3-year roadmap or the 3-year plan that we had, right? So right from our initial assessment to our execution, right? We kind of set ourselves some targets, right, to decom our data center as to how we are going to go about it. And as part of the journey, we kind of, leveraged a lot of managed services that were kind of offered by AWS for some of our platforms where we were re-platforming or we were re-engineering. We kind of evaluated and implemented ECS, in some cases EKS on Kubernetes for our containerization, right? And most of our databases, then we moved to RDS that Jindu just mentioned, right? So kind of leverage the managed services that were offered by AWS, right? Also along the path, we worked closely together with AWS and kind of ensured that we are in line with what are the compliance requirements from the regulator here in Singapore. This was especially around the BCP, DR, and the security policies that we have to adhere to, right? Also, as we kind of moved ahead in this journey, right, we set up a target operating model at a center of excellence, which kind of came up with a target operating model or a framework where we could kind of, see how we maintain this going forward, right? Also set up a cloud academy to certify some of our engineers internally So this was what we did, and I'm very happy to note that we achieved almost 71% of our target by end of 2022, and by the end of 2023, we have achieved 94% of our target, and we are well on path to kind of decom our data center, right? So moving forward, what we kind of have now is we are leveraging a bit more on our move, and trying to enable some of the native patterns, especially around containerization, security, to utilize platform as a service, right? And as and when we decom our data center, then we move towards more cloud automation, especially around provisioning of infrastructure and deployment and stuff and things like that. So that's where we are in the journey. Before I conclude, I just wanted to let you guys know that we are starting to see some success on what we are trying to, or what we tried to achieve, right? Especially around provisioning of infrastructure. You know, our security is also kind of baked in right at the upfront, right? Also, some of our health monitoring is a bit better because we have a better log management and stuff and things like that. And of course, the standardization of tools, we kind of leveraging a lot of native tools on offer by AWS to see that a lot of this is standardized. So that's where we are. Thanks for listening to me. I'll hand it over back to Jindu.
Thanks, Anil, for that inspiring story. So one of the questions which we often get asked is there a secret source? Where do we get started and how do we get started? So our answers primarily revolves around these two topics. The first one is business case. That means you must understand the business drivers, and you must start with a business case to understand your business drivers and ROI and align your transformation plan. The second one is assessment and readiness. This is where you need to really dive deep and comprehend your own portfolio. Get a detailed understanding of your current state, the portfolio, and understanding of the organization readiness through an MRA, Migration Readiness Assessment. And finally, I want to leave you all with one message. Get started now. Don't wait and do months of planning and design. Get started now. Learn by doing. Start small, grow big, and again, AWS can help. And there's tons of resources available online, and we have highlighted some of the critical ones here. So highly encourage all of you to go and take a look at it. And thank you very much, and it was a pleasure talking to you all.